This is a story about a soldier. It's not a story about a hero. It's not a story about a great general. It's about a grunt. It's about you. And so far we have your origin story. Now let's see how you deal with the realities of war and survival. When you get the order to take 10 men and scout ahead, it seems like a great opportunity, but what are you really doing? You're on a suicide mission. If you get caught, you and your men are dead. So here's the thing. War isn't always glorious. A lot of it is sitting around wondering if you're going to die today. You've got to watch out for every little detail. Because if you miss something, some poor schmuck might die. So as you're walking along the road, what do you look for? Well, first of all, the road itself. Is it in good repair, or are there signs of disrepair? Are there signs of a recent passage, maybe a supply train or cavalry patrol? Is there any sign of the enemy? Look at the trees on either side. Are they growing pretty and bushy? Do they grow to the center of the road, or do they stop abruptly? Does the undergrowth seem undisturbed, or are there signs of disturbance? These are the kinds of things you learn in training, but it's important to keep your senses sharp, and then it hits you. Why are you even doing this? The army could have just bulldozed through this area and forced a battle. What intelligence do you need to gather? What sort of information would be useful? Right now, you're probably thinking about military assets. Right. How many guys are there? What kind of weapons do they use? Is their commander competent or drunk? All valid questions. But if you want to be a great scout, you need to think like the enemy. So ask yourself this. If you were in charge, what would you be watching out for? What would you expect your scouts to bring back? Probably anything related to supplies and fortifications, right? If you were the enemy commander, would you send out scouts? Oh yeah, so does that mean you should go looking for evidence of enemy scouts? Oh boy. So as soon as you arrive in camp, you run to the centurion and tell him about the likelihood of enemy scouts in the area. And as soon as you finish telling him, guess what? Someone else tells him that they saw the smoke from your campfire. And they saw how many men you had. Dang it. So because you were such a good scout, the enemy knows that you're coming. So what do? Do you run back to the main camp and try to warn them? No, you stay put. You tell the centurion, I was spotted so I need backup. Then you hide in the woods and wait for the ambush. Wait, why is that a good idea? Let me explain. First of all, staying put gives you a chance to regroup. You already know that you've been spotted, so running away doesn't accomplish much. It gives the enemy time to prepare an ambush. Secondly, you can launch a counter-ambush. If you know the enemy is coming, you have time to dig in, fortify and launch a counter-ambush. Even if you do get ambushed, knowing that an ambush is coming gives you time to prepare. To guard your head, cover your ass. Maybe you have time to hurl a javelin. Maybe you draw your sword. Maybe you pray to Mars. But the point is, if you know what's coming, you can prepare yourself mentally and physically. But I hear you asking, why not just run away? If the enemy finds you, you're screwed either way. So why not run away and fight another day? Well, you might be surprised how fast cavalry can travel. Cavalry will often come thundering down the road right behind you, trapping you between two forces. Also, there may be a sheer number of enemies. You might get away from the original force, but you're going to walk straight into another one. Plus, getting out of the kill zone is only half the battle. Then you have to get your bearings, figure out where you are, and then you have to make your way back to friendly lines. That might take hours, even days, and you'll be exhausted, demoralized, and hungry. Basically, you're just making your way back to the kill zone for free. Finally, sometimes the best option is to hunker down and hold out. Imagine this scenario. You're trapped in a clearing and a superior force is closing in. There's nowhere to hide, so you dig in and you start hurling javelins. You and your men pick off the enemy, slowly but surely, but then they start bringing siege engines. They unload arrows, spears, and boulders onto you and your men. Eventually, you have to surrender. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't ever run away. Sometimes it's absolutely the best option. But think before you run. Try to assess the situation. Do you have a chance to counter-ambush? Is escape even possible? Or should you hunker down and hold out? If you enjoyed this scenario, you should check out our other videos, especially our Rome series. We've got all sorts of stuff covering Roman culture, military, history, and more.